When your supervisor suddenly pulls you aside and says, "We need to discuss your behavior in the meeting," or "Your communication style is becoming a problem," and it happens after you question a deadline, corrected misinformation, pushed back professionally, or didn't agree on demand, it's not coaching. This is the first rewrite of your character. I'm Noel, and I spent 30 years in executive HR, and I built HR armor to protect employees when work turns hostile. Because it's not if it turns hostile, it's when. And here's how the setup really works, right? You raise a legitimate concern. You ask a fair question. You flag something unsafe, unrealistic, inaccurate. In a normal workplace, right, they would clarify, but in a retaliatory one, they reframe. So instead of addressing the issue, your supervisors pivots to you. Your tone was inappropriate. Your approach felt aggressive. You're becoming difficult to manage. You were addressing a situation, they're building a story. And here's what happens next behind the scenes, the part employees never see. Your supervisor walks into HR and says, "We had to address their tone again. They're becoming unprofessional. We're seeing reoccurring communication issues, or there's a pattern of defensiveness." You think it was a conversation. HR documents it as behavioral concerns, attitudinal issues, potential performance trend, with an asterisk next to your name that signals problem employee. The narrative didn't come from what you did, it came from how they described you while you weren't in the room. You want to shut it down fast? Here's your HR armor move. Say this: "Can you specify which part of the approach did not align with company policy so I can address it accurately?" That line is lethal because it forces them into policy, not personality. It demands specifics they usually can't produce. It blocks tone policing from becoming evidence, and it turns accusation into timestamps protection. If they can't name a policy, the feedback collapses. If they refuse to answer, the silence protects you later. And if they change the subject, they just expose the setup anyway. Most employees lose the record right here, not because they were wrong, but because their supervisor reframed their professionalism before the employee documented the truth. HR armor exists so you never get rewritten again. It's time to reclaim the story, reclaim your power, and change the game.